Hello and welcome to episode 71 of the Confessions of a Yarn Addict podcast. My name is Anniken. I design knitting patterns, I teach knitting workshops online and in person, and I sell yarn through my website yarnaddict.co.uk. You can find the links to everything I'm going to talk about today below this video. So welcome, thank you for joining me. If you're new here, I really appreciate your time, and if you're a returning viewer, thank you very much for coming back. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. So today I'm going to talk and share quite a bit from our recent trip to London. So I'm filming this on a Sunday. What's the date? 16th of April, and this will be out the following Thursday. My husband's had to go to work today, so I thought I would do a bit of work, and that includes filming a couple of videos because next weekend is Wonderwall. So this is the run up to Wonderwall weekend, and I got so much to do. I am so badly prepared. As I said, we've been away for the last week for a few days. Easter Sunday, which was last weekend, we drove up to Wales to spend the day with my daughters who live in Wales. We stayed there overnight on Sunday night, and then on Monday morning, my husband and my oldest daughter and I headed to London. We had a very busy day in London on Monday. We went on a boat trip on the Thames, which I'll share more about later. I did quite a lot of video during that boat trip. Weather was really bad. It didn't rain, I don't think, most of the way on the boat trip out, but it chucked it down on the way back. I'll talk more about that later. And then on the Tuesday, I did some museums and some shopping. And then on the Wednesday, I got to visit beautiful knitters. And I have, hang on, should have had this prepared. I've got some, hang on, I got some stuff to share with you. So I'll talk about what I got at Beautiful Knitters, and I got some footage from the shop to share with you. And we got home late on Wednesday. On the Thursday I was teaching a spinner yarn in Bobby Tracy, so it was a really busy week. I have some footage on spinner yarn to show you as well. So it was a really busy week, and I basically done no Wonderwall prep. I have a deadline on Monday, so I'm working on finishing that this weekend. It's nearly done. I've got to post it tomorrow morning, so I've got to finish it this afternoon. And I haven't really started, apart from ordering all the stuff I need for Wonderwall, I haven't really started doing any other prep. I haven't started packing anything. I haven't started printing patterns. So today, after I film this, and then I'm going to film another video, I need to go through all my patterns and count them and check what I need to print, and then start printing that. I'm going to do that before I edit this video, which I'm also going to try and do today, because I can print in the background while I'm editing videos. And then I've got two parcels of yarn that have arrived. One from with Shopball yarns, the Sadball yarns, and Lang yarns, and a new yarn which I probably won't be taking to Wonderwall with me, but it may be a yarn I'll stock in the future. I just want to try it really, and I have a project idea for it. And then I want to unpack that, and I got a box of Monos Uruguay yarns as well, so I want to unpack and count that today. And then I need to also take everything off the shelves behind me, not just those shelves, but shelves over there which have loads of yarns on them, so I need to take all that off. And I need to go through I've gone through my samples. Some of them need blocking, some of them just need a bit of tidying up with the iron. So yeah, lots to do. I am trying to film a vlog as I get ready for Wonderwall, and I will try and film some stuff over the Wonderwall weekend. So hopefully after Wonderwall I'll have a vlog to share with you. Okay, so let's crack on with what we're going to talk about in this video. First, I have new glasses. They're not, I mean, they're a different shape than my last ones. This kind of shape is the shape that I used to go for every time, just different colours, and I really like this shape. And the ones I had last time were a slightly different shape, slightly bigger, and I really like the colour, and I did like them, but I prefer this shape, I think. They're a little bit smaller. I got quite chubby cheeks, so when I smile, it was kind of like pushing onto my glasses, so I think I prefer these. So I'm just popping in here to film a little quick insert that's going to go into my next podcast episode. I actually only just filmed my latest podcast episode a couple of days ago, but it's already edited and uploaded to YouTube, so I don't want to re-edit it and add this now. But I'm worried by the time I film the next episode I'm going to have forgotten about this. So this just arrived today, so I thought I would open it and show you what's in here. what I noticed was that a lot of the companies that offered advent calendars last year actually offered like late advent calendars, if you like. So I guess a lot of people see the advent calendars being open and they regret not ordering it. And so I noticed that quite a few indie dyers in January were offering their advent calendars as like a pre-order. So you could order last year's advent calendar in January. Some of them were offering like the full advent calendar in the 20 or 10 gram mini skeins that it originally came in. Some were offering options of buying like all the mini skeins or just certain sections of it. And some were offering the colours that were in the advent calendar but in 100 gram skeins. So anyway, this was one of the companies I got my advent calendar from last year, and they listed their advent calendars that they did last year as like a pre-order in end of January, and you could order full skeins, or I think you could get the 20 gram mini skeins as well. Anyway, I would have been happy, apologies for the rustling yarn, just taking the tissue paper out off. I would have been happy to probably order the full advent calendar again because I loved all the colours, but I tried to choose two that I liked particularly, that I liked the most maybe. So these are the two that I got. Obviously they're pink and purple. So this is pink lilac swirl, so it's got shades of pink and lilac. I actually thought it was a little bit more lilac-y than this, but I do really like it. And then this one, which I actually thought was a solid pink, but it's not. It's got a bit of like orangey speckles. There was one of the yarns in my advent calendar last year which was completely solid pink, and I thought that's the one I had ordered, so it's probably my mistake, but I thought it was solid pink, but it has got some speckles, which is fine. I actually don't mind that, and I really like this color. So this is from Spectrum Fiber, which was one of the advent calendars I got last year. I got the Spectrum Fiber. She did a half an advent calendar in effect last year. It was 12 days, not 24. And I made, I don't have the shawl here, but I made the big, oh, I do actually, hang on. Let's pull it out because it's just down here in my drawer. So this is the advent calendar from Spectrum Fiber in 2022. And I knitted a shawl. So it came with 12 mini skeins. I didn't use two of them. One of them I used for my swatch, which is actually still hanging on my wall, which was like an orangey colour. But I used all the other ones. And the one I thought I had ordered, oh, actually, it is that one. So I thought the one I ordered was that one. Then actually looking at it, I remembered it as being solid pink, but when I'm looking at it, there are some orangey speckles. So let's just see how well it matches. Yeah, so it is the same one. I remember it as being solid pink, but it's not. So it was the same one, so that's good. But this is what the Spectrum Fiber advent calendar was like last year. And so which one is this one? Let's see if we can work out which one this one is. Hang on. That one maybe? I think maybe that one. I'm not sure because some of the colours were a bit more similar. Anyway, this is my I can't remember what it's called. I'll pop the name on the screen and I'll link to the pattern below as well. It's available on Ravelry and Payhip. So if you have got an advent calendar, either you got one last year for Christmas or you got one of the ones that the various indie dyers are offering this year. So that's the other thing. If you want to get an advent calendar and you don't necessarily want to order one now, or you worry about getting one that you don't like, you can take a risk and wait and see what they turn out. Because I would say that a lot of indie dyers in January were offering their advent calendars. They would do a pre-order, and I think some of them are still kind of like working on them because obviously it's a ton of work, especially dyeing mini skeins. So if you're worried about losing out money wise, don't worry, you can always order them later with a lot of indie dyers. Probably not all, and I suspect if you ask them they'd probably say no, you have to order them. I've just noticed there's a bit of a yarn pull there, so I need to fix that. Anyway, I just want to pop in here to say this is Spectrum Fiber. I ordered at the end of January. I knew it was a pre-order thing so that it wouldn't ship straight away. I I forgot to write down when it would ship. I must admit, I didn't expect it to take this long. I know the owner was ill for a while as well, so that's probably added to the delay. It may be that the listing said that it was shipped in April. I can't remember, and I didn't take any notice of it at the time. And I was getting, at one point I was getting a little bit worried because I hadn't heard anything, and then I saw social media posts saying they would ship soon, so then I was like, okay, that's fine. But I'm unlikely to cast them with these straight away anyway. So these are the twisted sock, which if you've watched my last podcast is the same base that I knitted my turquoisey green socks in. So it's the yarn that I really like. I don't know what these are going to become yet. They actually go quite nicely together. So maybe I'll combine them into a shawl. I haven't decided yet, but I just want to film this and add it into my next podcast episode. So I'll now pass you back to the regular podcast. Okay, so let's talk about magazines first. I did a separate video on this, and I think I talked about it either in the last podcast or the Day With Me video. So in the last week, I released, so the week I filmed this, which is last week from when you're going to watch this, I had a Tuesday video, which was this design I had in this magazine, and then I had a Thursday video which was a spend a day with me type vlog. So if you haven't watched those, do go and watch it. I'll link them below. But this is issue 242 of Knitting Magazine, and just in case you missed those videos, if you have, do go back and watch them, especially the one on this issue, this magazine issue, because I talk about my design. Let me just find it and I give you like a look through the magazine and things like that. So this is my design for this issue. It's knitted in Cascade Yarns Eco Merino DK, and it is an all-in-one piece, and it's a cardigan. So if you haven't seen this issue, it's in your newsagent now. One more thing about this issue is I've actually ended up with three copies of it. Normally I receive my copy from the magazine like a few days before the magazine is in the shops, or on the days in the shops and things like that. Usually the week is in the shops. And I didn't get it. And I filmed the video talking about the design, but I also wanted to film like a flick through of this issue. So it hadn't arrived. So the day it was in the shops, or the day after, I can't remember, I went and picked up a copy because I wanted to film it. And I didn't mind buying a copy. So, and then while we were in London, a copy arrived, and then when we came back from London, another copy arrived. So I've actually got 3 copies of this. So I'm going to do a giveaway. I'm going to give away 1 copy of this magazine to somebody who comments on today's video. I will send it anywhere in the world, but just bear in mind, I don't think you will have to pay customs charges on this or import duties on this, because it's not worth that much. It's a pretty low value. But just be aware that there may be import duties to pay if you don't live in the UK. But I don't think that'll happen because the value is so low on a magazine. So leave me a comment below. Put hashtag, I mean, I probably won't get hundreds of comments, but just put hashtag knitting so I know that you want to be in with a chance to win this magazine. Because you might comment, but you might not want the magazine because you may already have it, or you're not interested in it. So if you want to know what's in this magazine, go and watch the video from last Tuesday, which is called Knitting Magazine 242, I think. I'll link it below. And let me know what should we have? So we need to have a question. So do hashtag knitting so I can see who wants to be part of the draw. And then tell me which is your favourite knitting magazine and which country you live in. So if you're in the UK, just tell me what your favourite knitting magazine is. Is it Knitting Magazine? Is it The Knitter? Is it Simply Knitting? Is it Let's Knit? Let's Knit is closing down soon. I don't know when the last issue will be. I think I've got one more design to be published. Is it Knit Now? They're all the British knitting magazines, I think. If you live in the US or Australia or New Zealand or somewhere in Europe or somewhere else in the world, do you have a knitting magazine that you like? Tell me your favourite knitting magazine and where you live. I love knitting magazines. I used to buy all of them. I don't anymore because I just don't get time to read them. So that was Knitting Magazine. You can win a copy of that if you leave me a comment below with your favourite knitting magazine and which country you live in. Let's talk about the Knitter. This also arrived while I was away, and I have a design in this issue. Now, unfortunately, I can't show you the actual shawl because when this was published, when I designed this shawl last year, when it came back from my sample knitters, I had to get it off in the post fairly quickly. So I didn't get a chance to actually do like a review video of it. But I have got the pictures in the magazine. So I'm just going to read what they say here. If you have a lovely skein of hand-dyed lace yarn in your stash, which you've been saving for something special, this project is the perfect way to use it up. Anniken Allis' design uses one skein of lace weight yarn. Our sample is knitted in hand-dyed wool from For the Love of Yarn, who I'll link below. Anniken's shawl has a crescent shape and the lower lace pattern forms points along the bottom edge. On their Instagram, they actually put something like, if you go to a yarn show and you buy that one special skein of yarn, this is the perfect shawl for it. I thought that was quite funny because this shawl came about at Yarndale last year. So For the Love of Yarn, Lisa's had the stall opposite me at Yarndale several times now. And on the Sunday afternoon, it's usually fairly quiet on the Sunday afternoon, and I was just sitting on my stall doing some knitting, and Lisa was standing on her stall chatting to the editor of the Knitter, Kirsty, and they were chatting and they were glancing over at me, and I was just, you know, sitting there knitting, and they said something, and so I went over and I was saying, oh, I'm about to finish my knitting, I'm about to run out of knitting to do, bad planning or something like that. And Kirsty said, well, we can rectify that. Do you fancy doing a design in one of Lisa's yarns? So I said, yeah, of course I do. So we discussed it, and Lisa agreed to provide yarn support, and Kirsty commissioned me to do a shawl. Unfortunately, Lisa only had sock yarns, 4-ply yarns, fingering weight yarns, so to show she didn't have any lace weight yarns, and we decided we wanted it to be a lace weight yarn. So we discussed it, and she was going to send it to me, and she asked me what colours I wanted, and I said I don't mind, and she sent me like the perfect pink. I may have said to her that I like pinks and purples, or she may just know that from following me on social media. But isn't that the most perfect pink? I love it. Obviously she's got other colours as well. So this is called Hibiscus, with this beautiful lace pattern knitted in a stunning shade. This shawl is a treat for spring, and it is just gorgeous. It is knitted in For the Love of Yarn, and I'll link them below, in the Merino single lace. It has 800 meters per 100 gram. If you're not very keen on merino singles, then you can use a regular lace weight, but merino singles is so soft and so gorgeous. 3.5mm needles, so not tiny needles, even though the yarn's quite fine. And I'm going to show you this without showing you the whole pattern. That's what it looks like on. So it's got a crescent shape. It's knitted top down. That's also another picture. Got to try and show you this without showing you the actual pattern. And then this is how I normally wear shawls, just bunched up around the neck as a scarf. Just gorgeous. You could wear this across your shoulders with like a pretty summer dress, maybe just summer wedding, or you can bunch it up around your neck if it's a bit chilly, wear it under a coat in the winter. It's so versatile. So this is in the latest issue of the Knitter, which is issue 188, and it's in the shops now. So that's all the designs that are in this issue. So lots and lots of gorgeous designs. That's mine. So really nice issue. I do recommend it, in the shops in the UK now. I'm pretty sure the knitter is available as an online download. Not sure where you get it from. So there hasn't been a lot of progress on the knitting front. I've done a lot of knitting. Obviously I've been away, so that's affected my knitting a little bit, but also I've been working on the deadline design for a book that's coming out in a year's time. So obviously I can't share that, and I've done a lot of knitting for that, and I've just realized this morning that I've actually made it too big. It's knitted in pieces. It's like a modular design. Can't give away too much. So this means I've knitted more pieces than I need to put the design together. Let's put it that way. So there's quite a few hours of knitting wasted, which is a bit annoying. And it took me probably like an hour and a half yesterday morning to block all these individual pieces. So that's also a lot of time wasted. So I'm a little bit annoyed with myself, but hey, what can we say? These things happen. Let's talk about my knitting for olive top. I can't remember if it was the last podcast or the Spend a Day with Me vlog where I blocked this. I put it on two long tubing cord things to try it on, and I wasn't sure that it was the right length, or I wanted slightly longer, because I hadn't decided whether I was going to do shaped armholes with satin sleeves or drop shoulders. And I've decided, because it's got a boxy shape, I'm going to go for drop shoulders. So I decided if I'm going to go for drop shoulders, I could do it a little bit more body length, because the arm is going to come further out here. I don't need the armhole to be as deep as for a satin sleeve. So yesterday when I was thinking about filming this, I was thinking I haven't touched that design at all since I blocked it. So I put it on this try-on tubing and then blocked it, and then I tried it on. I'm pretty sure I did it in the last podcast, and I hadn't touched it since. It was still, last night it was still on that try-on tubing. So I put it back on the knitting needle yesterday evening, and for like the last hour or so before I went to bed, I did a little bit of knitting. So I put a marker in. So I basically did, how many rounds did I do? 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds. 4 rounds. Not good, is it? So oh, hang on, the yarn's fallen on the floor. So I have a tiny bit of yarn left from the ball I was working on, so I was thinking I would finish that. I might do a little bit more. I haven't decided how much more I'm going to do yet, but I will probably work on it this evening and then aim to split for the front and back this evening or tomorrow. I don't know. The let me just move something here. The crochet blanket, when I filmed the last podcast, I put it on the floor next to me in my office, and it is still here because I have not touched it. I might do a little bit on it later when I edit this video, but I've not touched it at all. So most of the knitting this week has been on this deadline project, which I can't show you, and on my socks, because obviously we've been away, so I've done a lot of knitting on these socks. So the yarn is the Yarn Badger, and it Surfs Up, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 400 meters per 100 gram. That's the yarn. Love the yarn. Gorgeous colors. And I've knitted a lot on this, which wouldn't come as no surprise since we've been in London. So that's where I was when we got on the train to London last week, where that marker is. And that's where I put the waist yarn in for the afterthought heel. And then I start on the leg. I would have gotten further if I decided to do it all in stocking stitch, but I've decided to do this kind of alternating rib, which is one of the stitch pattern that's available from my Aventuras pattern. So this is my Aventuras pattern, toe up. Aventuras comes with a choice of toe up, top down, choice of 2 toes and 2 afterthought heels, and 2 stitch patterns. So I haven't done this stitch pattern for a while, so I thought I would do that. Mainly when I do stocking stitch, I can knit a pair of socks very quickly, and I thought if I do rib, it'll slow me down a bit, but I decided to do this alternating rib, which I quite like. and it doesn't really interfere with the striping, so I like that. That's what it looks like in stocking stitch for the foot. So I do that for the top of the foot and then front and back up the leg. So I don't know how many rounds I've done because I'm counted, but I'm maybe halfway up the leg, nearly halfway up the leg. I don't know how long I'm going to make them. I split the yarn in two so that I didn't have to carry around the whole ball while I was in London, because I wanted this to fit into my handbag and I didn't want to take a handbag that was too big. So I did a lot of knitting on the train to and from London. On the first day we did a boat trip on the Thames, and I thought I would do a lot of knitting there, but I didn't on the way. So let me tell you about the boat trip on the Thames. I'll show you a bit of footage from that. So we got on the day we got to London. We got there in the morning, mid-morning, and we were going to a concert that evening at the Royal Albert Hall. So we put our luggage in left luggage at Paddington Station, which is the station we get into. And then because the weather wasn't very good, it wasn't raining when we got there, but rain was forecast. So we decided we would go on a boat trip on the Thames. Now there's loads of these kind of private cruises that you can book with commentary and all that kind of stuff. But they're a bit more expensive, and we really didn't want to spend too much money because this was a bit of a last minute trip that we only decided on 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, something like that. So we didn't really want to spend a lot of money. So we decided to use the Transport for London boats, which are the kind of regular scheduled river boats, boat buses, I guess you can call them. They go up and down the river. So we got on at Westminster Pier, and we took the boat that went east. Now you've got to be careful because there are some boats that go as far as North Greenwich, where the O2 Arena is, and there are some that carry on, and we wanted the one that carried on from there. A bit further out in the Thames, the River Thames, which is the river that goes through London, for those who may not know, there is a thing called the Thames Barrier or the Thames Barrage, and it's very spacecrafty. You'll see it at the end of my video. And we wanted to go through that. So we went as far as Woolwich, Royal Arsenal, I think is the stop is called. And then we got off the boat and we were going to try and get the tube back into central London. But we changed our mind because it was quite a long way to walk to the tube station, and we were like, and it was starting to rain, so we were like, let's just get back on the boat. So we got back on the boat. It would have been cheaper probably to get the tube back. So getting this boat for as long as we did does cost more than just going on the tube. But that day, if you pay with contactless you can pay like a travel card, but if you pay with contactless on the tube and all the public transport in London, it caps it at like a daily rate. So you just tap in and out every time you go on and off the tube, the bus, the DLR, the boats, whatever, and it caps it at like a daily rate. If you go on the boat for as far as we did, you pay a little bit more. So I think for the first day, for all our public transport, we got the tube from Paddington to Westminster, then we got the boat to Woolwich and back again, and then we got the tube around London, and we stayed in a hotel. We got the tube out to Wimbledon, which is where we're staying, a bit far out, but it was the cheapest hotel we could find that was convenient for what we were doing that evening, so that's the reason for that. And we got the tube back into London to go to a concert, and then we got tube back out of Wimbledon. So we travelled around a lot, and I think we paid some like about £20. So I thought that was quite good, the amount of travelling we were doing and the boat trip. If you go on a cruise, like a river cruise, guided river cruise, I would imagine you probably pay at least £20–30 per person, maybe even more. A lot of tourist attractions now seem to be close to £30. So I thought it was quite good. So I will share this footage from you now. It is a little bit long, so if you want to skip through it, that's absolutely fine. Basically, my husband and I, most of the trip out of Woolwich, we spent on the back of the boat taking photos, and I took a lot of video. We went past the Tower of London. I've tried to pick out some of the landmarks as we go past them. I've never actually got a boat west of Westminster. And I'd like to do that next time we go to London. Going east from Westminster, you do see a lot of tourist attractions. You see the London City Hall, which is quite a big building next to the London Eye, which we haven't been on for a long time. We have been on it, and it's amazing. London Eye, you see some quite big buildings in London that I don't know the name of. and you go past Tower of London, you go under Tower Bridge, you go past Greenwich and Cutty Sark, which is an old boat. You see the O2 Arena at North Greenwich, and you see the Canary Wharf, City of London. There's a lot of stuff you go past, and I quite enjoyed it. So we spent most of the time outside taking videos. There are seating outside, but not that much, and they were fairly busy. And then on the way back, because it was raining, Vanessa and I sat inside. Simon spent most of the time outside and got a little bit wet because it was raining a lot. And then on the Monday evening, we went to a concert at the Royal Albert Hall. I've filmed a little bit of a footage. I don't know whether I'm going to put it in or not, because I'm just a bit nervous about whether I will be breaking any copyright claims. So I may put it in, I may not. But there's a band from Devon, which is actually a county next to where we live. So it's kind of like a local band called Show of Hands. They're like an acoustic folk band. And my husband really likes them. My daughter likes them as well. I think they're okay. I'm not brilliantly familiar with their music, but years ago we used to have a CD that we used to play in the car a lot. So I did know a lot of their older songs. Unfortunately, they didn't play a lot of their older songs, I didn't think. So we went to my husband found out a couple of months ago that they were having a concert at the Royal Albert Hall, and he asked Vanessa if she wanted to come, and I was a bit like, oh, where are they playing? And he said Royal Albert Hall, and I went, I want to come, because I've never been to inside the Royal Albert Hall. I've been outside, but I've never been inside, and it's an iconic London concert venue, so I fancy going. So in the afternoon we went to the hotel, dropped our luggage off, then we went back into London, got something to eat, went to Royal Albert Hall. When we got there, we'd booked like the cheapest seats right up at the top at the back, you know, because we didn't want to spend a fortune, and we walked up all the stairs, all the way upstairs, and Vanessa and I went to the loo, and when I came out, my husband was chatting to a staff member there, steward there, whatever they call them. Steward, is that what they're called? A staff member, and he said to me, have you got our tickets? So I got the tickets out, thinking they've checked them already. And the guy took them and then handed me back 3 like printed tickets. And I just looked a bit vague, and Simon said, oh, we're being upgraded to a box. So apparently it turned out that the venue was only 60% full, so they moved most people who were in the top. There were some people still left at the top, so I don't know whether that was they wanted to stay there. Some people might want to stay there, but they offered us a box, so we moved to a box, which was quite fantastic. I mean, the boxes aren't that great, but when we got into the box, there was one guy sitting in the front, and then we had there's 4 seats at the front, and there was one guy at the end, and then we had the other 3 seats. One thing that gets me with these old theatres is that the seats are normally quite small. We had like normal chairs, so they weren't too bad, but the leg room, I mean, I got long legs. We're all tall in our family, and I was sitting with my legs like 90 degrees, and I was like touching the front wall of the box, and it's like steps, so I couldn't push the chair back, and we were sitting there waiting for it to start, and I was thinking my knees are starting to feel like they're burning. I have arthritis in both my knees, but most of the time they're not too bad, but it was just feeling like they were burning. I was getting quite a lot of pain, so and we weren't sure that anyone else was coming into our box or not. So once the concert started, I actually moved to the row behind, and then I could stretch my legs down kind of the aisle bit of the box. So I did that. Had fantastic views, really enjoyed it. Concert was great, band was great. It was really good fun, and now I've been inside the Royal Albert Hall, so I'm quite happy with that. And then on Tuesday, we split up. One of my problems when I visit big cities like London or Madrid or other big cities like that, where you spend all day walking around, and even if you use public transport, you do walk a lot, because in London, when you walk up and down the tube, there's a lot of steps down, a lot of steps back up. When you're changing trains on the tube, you're walking down all these corridors, and you know, the first day, I don't know, probably did some like nearly 20,000 steps, even 18,000 steps maybe, even though we were on a boat for several hours. Still did a lot of steps. So on the Tuesday, I was in quite a lot of pain by the end of Monday. I have chronic back problems. I have arthritis in my knees, and if I walk a lot on tarmac, I get pain in my hip, especially my left hip. So my back was aching, my knees were aching, my hip was aching. So on the Tuesday, we decided to take it a little bit easy. So we split up and did our own things. I went to the V&A, the Victoria and Albert Museum, which I like going to. I didn't look around all of it because it's quite big, but I looked around like my favorite bits of it and got a drink in their garden. So after the V&A, I went to Selfridges on Oxford Street, iconic department store, and had a bit of a look around there. I got a muffin, can't remember, muffin in one of the coffee shops there, and a drink, and relax for a bit. And then I was going down to Piccadilly to meet Simon and Vanessa in a bookshop. And looking at the probably, you know, it's not that far to walk really, but I was in quite a lot of pain by this point, and I really didn't want to walk too far. And I looked at the directions for the tube, and I was like a few minutes walk from Bond Street Station, and I had to get the tube to, I think, Green Park, and then walk up Piccadilly from there. It's not that far to walk, but I downloaded this app for Lime because I fancied trying out their electric scooters. So I've only been an electric scooter for a few minutes in Oslo last summer. Just tried around a little square in Oslo just to see what it was like. So I was a little bit nervous about going on actual roads on the scooter, but I came out and I couldn't find a scooter in the area I was in. there's like a trial going on with the electric scooters in London at the moment, so there aren't that many around. But there was a Lime bike just across the road, so I was like, well, that'll do. It's not that far to cycle. Obviously London traffic is horrendous, and that made me slightly nervous, but I was looking at Google Maps and I thought, well, I can go like back lanes through Mayfair down to Piccadilly. Probably won't be too bad traffic wise. So I walked down to this Lime bike, I scanned it out, turned out it was an electric bike, and I only had a very brief try on an electric bike once or twice. It has like a phone holder on it, but as I was trying to get my phone in this phone holder, it started to rain, and I was like, oh, and I scanned the bike out, and you pay £1 just to unlock it. So I thought, if I scan it back in again and end the ride, I will still have paid £1. So I was like, oh, sod it, I'll just get on it and I'll cycle down there as quickly as I could. So I looked on Google Maps to see where I had to go. I tried to memorize it. Looked like a fairly easy route, just keep going straight on kind of thing. A couple of times the roads were fairly quiet because it wasn't like the main road, so it was fairly quiet. It wasn't too scary. I got used to the electric bike fairly easily, and then a couple of times I had to stop just to check directions, and I ended up a bit further the wrong end of Piccadilly. I wanted to be close to Piccadilly Circus, and I ended up the other end of Piccadilly. And as I was coming down Piccadilly, I was stuck in a traffic jam, and I looked at the map and I thought, I'm going to turn left onto Piccadilly and cycle up Piccadilly for a few hundred meters. And I thought, Piccadilly is just so busy, and I thought, I don't think I'm brave enough to do that. So I cycled down to Piccadilly, and then I left my bike there. These electric bikes, you don't have to leave them in a docking station. You can leave them anywhere. You're supposed to leave them safe on the pavement or somewhere where you're not blocking people and causing an obstruction, all that kind of stuff. I know probably they are left in the wrong places and things like that. There are certain areas you're not allowed to leave them, like Hyde Park, you weren't allowed to leave them. But I left the bike, I parked it responsibly next to a bin, so it wouldn't be causing an obstruction or blocking the bin or blocking anyone. You're supposed to allow enough space in the pavement for like wheelchairs and pushchairs and things to go past. So got to the bookshop, and then we didn't do much for the rest of the day. And then on Wednesday, I was heading to Beautiful Knitters in Pimlico. So we got the tube into London, and I was going off on my own. I got off at Kensington High Street, and my plan was to change tube trains there to go to Pimlico. But I was a bit early. The shop wasn't opening. They opened quite late, like 11:30 or something, I think it is. So I was like, I need to do something else before that, really. So I went up, and I was going to have a look around High Street, Kensington, and then I was a bit like, no, I don't want to do too much walking, really. And I got outside and I saw a Lime bike, so I was like, oh, let's go cycling. So I scanned the bike out, I cycled up Kensington High Street, which was a little bit nerve-wracking because it was quite busy. And then when I got to Hyde Park, I cycled along there's like a cycle path along the edge of the park, where there's no traffic. So I cycled up there, past the Household Cavalry, some horse army thing. Cycled past their stables, saw a couple of horses, which was exciting. And then I got to like the end of Hyde Park, and I wanted to go down Old Brompton Road to Harrods. Not because I wanted to go into Harrods. I hadn't planned to go into Harrods, but I could get a tube from there to Pimlico. And I didn't want to cycle on too many roads. I did consider cycling to Pimlico, but I was a bit worried about the traffic. So I cycled down, I think it's Old Brompton Road to, it might be called something else up there, to Harrods. And that road was quite busy, and I was a little bit nervous, but it went fine. Got to Harrods. I parked my bike responsibly. I popped into a couple of the shops there. One Spanish shop that I really like called Bimba Lola. I got a few of their handbags, which I bought in Spain. I didn't realise they had a shop there, so I popped in there and had a look around. I popped into Harrods mainly because I needed the toilet by this point. So I mainly popped in just to find the toilet, but I may have walked past a few designer bags on my way through, just for a little bit of a browse. Their bags are way out of my price range. And then I got the tube to Pimlico, went to Beautiful Knitters. So let me tell you what I got at Beautiful Knitters, and then I'll pop in a video afterwards of from Beautiful Knitters. Okay, so Beautiful Knitters, one of their tote bags. I didn't want to buy a lot because I didn't really want to carry around a lot, but I also wanted to get something. So I got, well, I haven't opened this one. This was a little, well, I picked this one out. I wanted to get this one, but it was given to me as a gift. So this is a tape measure. It's smaller than my other tape measures, I think. Where's my, so most of my tape measures are kind of this size. So it's a bit smaller than that. And it has like a key ring. I don't think I'm going to hang it on my keys, but you know, you can attach it to your project bag or things like that if you tend to lose your tape measures. And then you pull it out like that, and then it's got a button on the back, pops back in again, and it says beautiful knitters on it. So I like that. Mainly bought it because it's a bit smaller than most of my tape measures, so perfect to take on holiday and things. So I got that. That was a gift. Well, I picked it up. I was going to buy it, and then I was given it as a gift, so thank you very much. And then I saw these from Coconuts. I haven't opened them yet. I've talked about these in my finishing techniques online course and probably in other videos. I have these clips from, I think they're called the Susan Bates. I really like for holding things together when I do sewing up. It's just got, I haven't got one here, but it's just got like one claw. Hang on. Let's see if I got one here and I can show you what I'm talking about. This is my workshop bag. Let's see if we got one in here. I think I probably do in my tool bag in here. Oh yes, I do. Okay, so I got these. I got some that I got as a freebie from a magazine years ago, and then I got some which I think are from Susan Bates that I bought. I got some in this colour and some in green. So I got a few of those, but I don't know where they're sold. They used to be sold at Loop in London. I don't know, I haven't seen them anywhere for ages. So I saw these from Coconuts, so I thought, well, they're similar. They're not quite the same. They're almost like those little like hair clips you get to put in your hair. Oh, but they're great for holding things together to sew up. So I got a pack of those. I don't know how many are in here, but there's quite a few. Does it say? No, it doesn't say how many are in. Oh, 12 pieces. So 12 pieces, and they're plastic free. So I don't know what they're made of. Plastic free clips made from PMA, fermented plant fiber. So yeah, they're quite a good idea. I like those. And then I got a skein of yarn, of course. Now I decided, I mean, they got beautiful yarns there. I decided to go for a yarn that is not British. I've never heard of before, and I've no idea how to pronounce this. It's German. My guess would be Schwerdendot yarns. I will put their website below, and also link beautiful knitters below. It is luxury sock, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 425 meters per 100 gram in the colorway Teen Spirit, and it's grey with some like speckles. And I will probably do socks out of these because there's a sock yarn, and I think it's a beautiful color for socks, like these speckles. And it was just a yarn I hadn't heard of before. I like this colorway, so this is my souvenir yarn from Beautiful Knitters, and I love it. Very happy with that. So that's all I bought from Beautiful Knitters, really. I also got something from the V&A, which I'll show you, Victoria and Albert Museum. So I've seen this scarf on Instagram. It keeps being advertised to me, but it's cashmere, so it's like well over £100. And I saw these at V&A, and they had them in loads of different colours, and they were rolled up into like a really tiny tube. So they roll up really small. As you can see, they're really see-through. It's basically a big scarf. These are 100% wool, but it's really lightweight, and they're like the ones I've seen on Instagram, except the ones on Instagram are cashmere and cost £100 more than these do. It's quite big if you want to wear it as a shawl. It's quite big, but obviously you can bunch it up and wear it as a scarf. So if I was wearing it as a scarf, I'd probably wear it like that, I guess. But I liked it because it's quite thin. It's very soft, and I like the fact that it folds up into like a tiny, quite a small, either like square. I think in the shop they had them like rolled up like that. So they fold up quite small, so they're perfect for like just popping in your handbag, especially when you're traveling. Sometimes when I'm traveling, even like in the summer, if we go to Spain or something, especially on the plane, sometimes you can be a bit chilly. If we go to Spain, for example, in the summer, you know, I might want to, it might be cold here when we leave, but it might be 30 degrees when we land. So something like this that doesn't take up any space in my hand luggage or my handbag, that I can just pull out and put on, would be ideal. So I decided to get one. I kind of regret not getting a second one. It wasn't that expensive. They'd have been loads of colours, and I really, really like that. It's wool, not cashmere though. So that's what I purchased in London. Didn't really buy anything else. When I left Pimlico, Simon and Vanessa were in Hyde Park, and I had a bit of time before we had to meet back at Paddington to go home. So I texted them to say, where are you? And they said, we're in Hyde Park. And I looked at how to get to where they were by public transport, and there was quite a lot of walking involved. So I got to Pimlico tube station, and there was a Lime bike outside. So I was like, dare I ride across London from Pimlico to Hyde Park and then on to Paddington? I wasn't sure. I looked at the map on Google Maps to see what the route was, and I thought about the amount of pain I was in and the amount of walking I would have to do if I went on the tube, and I thought, no, let's get a bike. So I scanned the bike out. I managed to get my phone in the little phone holder on the bike. I set up my route, and this first bit was fine. It was through quite narrow residential street. It was barely any traffic. It was absolutely fine. And then I went past, I don't think I went straight past Victoria Station, but it was close to Victoria Station. I went past the Victoria Station car park, and the traffic was quite heavy, and I was a bit like, this is a bit scary. I did consider getting off the bike and pushing it, but I didn't. I kept cycling, which I was quite proud of myself, because I was a bit scared. Because obviously I'm cycling around with no helmet or anything. Although I'm not sure how much a helmet will help you if you get knocked over by a car. Probably help you if you fall off your bike and hit your head on the ground. I did get a concussion as a child when I was about 7, I think, 7 or 8. I fell off my bike and got concussed, and there is a period of time which I cannot remember, and I've never been from. I remember my bike tipping over, and then the next thing I remember, I was standing in the bathroom at home, whole side of my face, I don't know which side, that side maybe, was all cut up, and my eye was all swollen and closed up, and it was awful. And that's the next thing I remember. And I had apparently got back on my bike and cycled home. Some friends had seen me and they'd called out to me, and I just cycled past them really fast apparently. But I have not got any memory of that, and that's like 45 years ago. So I know how serious bike injuries can be and brain injuries can be, and that's a fairly minor thing that I experience. I know it's serious. So cycling around London without a helmet is a little bit, but you know, if you're renting a bike, you're not going to have a helmet with you, are you? Probably. So, and then we got onto like 4 more minor roads again, cycled past the Norwegian Embassy, which I recognise because there's a big Norwegian flag outside. Then I got up to Hyde Park and I cycled through Hyde Park, which there's a cycle path, so that was fine. Then at the top end of Hyde Park, there is a cycle path, but it's on the edge of the road. So you're cycling on the road. So you've got traffic going past you, and it's quite a busy road. turned out that where I thought Simon and Vanessa wasn't actually where they were, so I'd actually put the wrong place on the map anyway. And then as I was cycling along that road, it started raining, and I stopped and looked at the map and typed in Paddington Station and thought, I'm not going to go to the park, because you can't, most of Hyde Park, you can't cycle off the cycle paths. So to get to where they were, I would have had to park the bike up and then walk. So I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. So I just texted them and said, I'm going to Paddington, and rerouted my bike and crossed the road, which I got off the bike and walked across the pedestrian crossing, because otherwise it was too scary, and then cycled to Paddington Station. That road, there was like some narrow roads which weren't too bad, and then the road that goes past Paddington was very busy, and a taxi driver stopped in the bike lane. So it's bike lane like at the edge of the road. A taxi driver stopped in the bike lane in front of me to pick somebody up outside a hotel. So when I went past him, I shouted at him because I got a bit annoyed. So I went a bit all full on Londoner on him, and shouted bike lane at him. His window was open. I don't know whether he heard me. Then I pedalled off really quickly so he couldn't shout back or drive after me. And then when I got up to Paddington, there was bike lane at the edge of the road, but there were several taxis parked in the bike lane, and I think they were probably queuing to go into the taxi rank at Paddington Station. But I'm like, you're blocking the bike lane, and it's really heavy traffic. So that kind of thing really annoyed me. Anyway, that was it. Got to Paddington, sat down, did some knitting and scrolling on my phone while I waited for Simon and Vanessa to come. We got our luggage, we got some lunch, we got on the train, we went home, and then the next day I was teaching a spinny yarn. So this box arrived, I think it was like the day before the Easter weekend, Monday, Thursday, and I didn't open it because I just too busy thinking about Easter and going away and everything else. So I didn't open it. So obviously I know what I'm expecting to be in here, but let me show you what's in it. So this is stuff for Wonderwall. Ooh, there's stuff in here I wasn't expecting. Okay, so I ordered some row counters. I always tend to get these for shows. They're my favourite row counters. They're Clover. They're the ones I use. I have loads of them around the house. So I got some of those. That's the same thing. They always put it in a bag of herringbones, which I will eat later. And then I got, oh, God, I got these. I got some of these ring row counter. Let me just see what the largest size is. Okay, I only got a couple of sizes. I wanted to try on the largest size to see if it fits me, because the ones I got before, I got some ones before for a show, but they're a slightly different colour, and the largest size didn't fit me, but I think this is a size bigger, and I think it does fit me. Oh, it fits me. Actually fits me on my ring finger. The last one I got fitted me. I could like put it on my thumb like that. But that was a size smaller. So it's got numbers along here, and you just hang on. Where's the? Okay, so I guess this here. It's got like a marking on this side. So you just move these along to count rows. I can wear it on my ring finger. Get it off again. I can wear it on my thumb. Thumb might be easier as you're knitting, so you can see where you are and twist it. So yeah, I mean, is it better than a row counter? I don't know, but I fancied one, so I got one. So I'm going to keep one of those in the larger size for myself. And then I got a couple more in the larger size, and I got so that's size 12. I got a couple. I didn't get very many. I got a couple size 10 and one size 12, I think. A couple size 12. I didn't get too many because I wasn't sure how they were going to sell. I might get some more. There's just so much money, so much stuff to spend money on when you're doing shows. And then I got a few other things. So these, I didn't realise they came in like a pouch. Isn't that cool? So these are scissors. So last year for Yarndale, I got these scissors, which are from the Knit Pro, what's it called? Mindful collection. They're like rainbow ones. and they're pretty, but this time I thought I would get some of these rose gold ones. I don't know what's going to be most popular, rose gold or rainbow, but I got the rose gold ones this time. They're a little bit stiff. I assume they get less stiff as you use them, and they come in their own little pouch. Perfect for traveling, perfect for putting in your project bag without breaking anything. So I got some of those for Wonderful. And then the good thing is, because it's 2 weeks now since I ordered this, I don't remember what I ordered. Okay, yeah, this is cool. Okay, so I got these come in a little bag. These are from the Mindful collection, and these are stitch markers, and they are chakra symbols. This is the Mindful collection, and they're sterling silver plated, and they're all different. All got different like symbols on them. Can you see that? And they come on a little, this is like a little stitch holder, so as well as holding your stitch markers, you can also use this as a stitch holder to hold if you just need to hold a few stitches. So that's good, and they come in like a little bag like that, so I like that. So I got some of those, and then I got, what's this? Oh, okay. Fun when I've forgotten everything I bought. Again, this is from the Mindful collection, and oh, it's wrapped up, so I don't know whether I want to take that out. No, I don't think I want to take that out, do I? It's basically like a what's it called? A needle gauge. I don't know if I want to take it out. Actually, maybe I do. People might want to see what they're buying. I'll probably want to have one on display, so I'll take this one out because I'll want to have one on display. Again, it's like silver plated, I think. Yes, sterling silver plated. It's from the Mindful collection, and it has millimeter sizes on one side and the US sizes on the other side. The US millimeter is metal, so it's quite sturdy, and it comes in a little pouch like all the Mindful collection stuff. So I just got a couple of those, and then I got these, which are like repair hooks. So they're like little tiny crochet hooks. They got, I'm not going to take it out, they got crochet hook on one side and like a knitting needle on the other side, and if you drop stitches you can use them to pick it up. I like the fact that there's a knitting needle and a hook. I have little tiny ones I use in my notions pouch, so I might keep one of these myself and use the smallest one, put that in my notions pouch. I got some of those because I thought they're quite useful. And what else did we get? Oh, and I got some tape measures. Oh, hang on, that's more stitch markers and needle gauges. Oh, another bag of sweets, so 2 bags of sweets. Very kind. And some packaging, which we'll get rid of. And then the last thing is, hang on, I need to keep the box to put it all back in here. It's a retractable wood measuring tape. Oh, it's got a bit of hair stuck to it. There we go. Let's see if we can open that just to, there we go, without breaking it. So I've got one of the Nipra Mindful measuring tapes. I don't think it's here, I think it's downstairs, but it's quite heavy. So I decided to see what this one was like. So this one's got 2 little sheep on it and a KP for Nipro. You pull it out and then there's a button that you press. I like this one better than the Nipro Mindful one. The Mindful one is green and it's quite heavy. It might be slightly bigger than this, I'm not sure, but it's quite heavy. And the button that you press, because it's set down a little bit more, I find it difficult to press it to I find this better. This is better than the other one, I think. So I'm glad I got that one. So that is what I got for, let's see if I can do this. I probably need one to have on display anyway, so it's not a problem if I can't tape this back up. So I got some of those. So yeah, I'm going to keep that one for myself, that ring. Then we're going to put all the rest of this back in this box. So new fun things from Nipro for Wonderwool. If I don't sell it all Wonderwool, it'll be in the shop afterwards. If I do sell it all Wonderwool, I may get some more and put it in the shop afterwards. We'll see. I'm going to be away for a couple of weeks in May, so I may leave it till after I come back because I'm going to have to close the shop when I'm away anyway. So I think that's it. I think this will be quite a long video with all the footage from London and everything. But remember, if you want to win a copy of Knitting Magazine, if I get a lot of comments, I might give away 2. I'll see how generous I'm feeling. So if you want to win one of those, please leave me a comment and tell me, do #knitting, and tell me what your favourite knitting magazine is and which country you live in, so we know where that knitting magazine is from. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. It's been a long episode. Apologies for that. Look out for some more videos next week. Next week will probably be 2 videos. And do check out the videos from last week, which I'll link below, and I'll link everything I've talked about below. And if you're coming to Wonderwall, come and see me. I can't remember which stall I'm on, but you'll find me in the programme under YarnAddict. So do come and see me and say hello. I'll have lots of beautiful yarn on my stall and lots of patterns and some other goodies, beads, that kind of thing. So do come and say along if you're going to be a Wonderwall. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. And I will see you next time. Thank you for watching.